Hello, this is Dr. Bolad. I am board certified physician in cardiology, interventional cardiology, and internal medicine. Today, I'll be talking to you about the COVID-19 coronavirus effects on the heart. COVID-19 is a new virus that started to affect humans towards the end of 2019 and is now causing a global pandemic. The outbreak started in Wuhan, China. COVID-19 causes severe acute respiratory syndrome illness, SARS illness, and was labeled as such by the World Health Organization, the WHO, and technically abbreviated as SARS-CoV-2. COVID-19 is the seventh known coronavirus. It is different from the coronaviruses that are known to cause the common cold. It is similar to the animal severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS coronavirus from 2002, and the Middle East respiratory syndrome, MERS coronavirus from 2012. The following slide shows these coronaviruses. 1. Severe acute respiratory syndrome SARS coronavirus of 2002. 2. Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome MERS coronavirus from 2012. 3. Severe acute respiratory syndrome SARS coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 from 2019, also known as COVID-19. COVID-19 is thought to have originated in bats, similar to many other coronaviruses, because it shares 89 to 96% of the genetic identity of these coronaviruses from bats. Like SARS-CoV and MERS, it is thought that COVID-19 moved from bats to a middle host, suspected to be the Sunday pangolin, also known as the Malayan pangolin, found throughout Southeast Asia, and as it shares 91% of the genetic identity. From this middle host, it is thought that has moved to humans. How does the coronavirus disease of 2019 enter our body and cause infection? COVID-19 virus is an envelope virus with surface projections that correspond to surface spike proteins. SARS-CoV-2 is highly virulent, much more infective than the SARS-CoV virus outbreak in 2002-2003. In people who are infected, it is in high abundance and has got about 1 billion RNA copies per ml of sputum. It's more stable on plastics and stainless steel than on cardboard and can stay alive for up to 72 hours on surfaces. Spread is by droplet while talking, sneezing, or coughing. One can be directly from one person to another or indirectly while droplets are still in the air. Airborne infection, meaning the virus remains infectious when suspended in air over long distance and time, is possible, and researchers are evaluating this. The entry site is through the lungs, and the incubation period is 2 to 14 days. Once the virus enters the lungs, it attaches through its spikes to receptors known as angiotensin converting enzymes 2 receptors, known for short as ACE2 receptors. These receptors are also found in the heart, the blood vessels, and the gastrointestinal tract. Once attached to the surface of the lung cells, the virus then enters into these cells. Once inside the lung cells, it starts to multiply and then can leave the cells and be transmitted to other individuals. Leaving the cells does not require receptors and can spread by respiratory tract droplets, respiratory secretions, and direct contact. Although the virus enters through the lungs and causes viral lung infection, it can manifest as a primary heart disease in the form of high blood pressure, heart attacks, inflammation of the muscle of the heart, leading to heart failure. This is because the heart and the blood vessels have the same ACE2 receptors that the virus attacks. In mild cases, infected persons may test negative by 10 days after the start of the symptoms. During this time of 10 days, the person can be infectious to others. The median time of viral spreading has been found so far to be between 7 to 24 days. Some individuals tested positive and were spreading the virus 37 days after the onset of the symptoms. When our immune system realizes that there is an infection, immune responses are activated. Different mechanisms are activated, and inflammatory proteins and glycoproteins known as cytokines are released into the circulation. Multiple types of cytokines are released, but the most important ones are interleukin-6, abbreviated as IL-6, are released in large amounts to cause cytokine release syndrome, which can lead to inflammation of the lungs, leading to adult respiratory distress syndrome and inflammation to the heart, leading to heart failure. There is also increased incidence of heart attacks. The key points here so far: coronavirus infection involves the COVID-19 linking to the receptors angiotensin converting enzyme ACE2 to allow entry into the cells. ACE2 is found in abundance in the lungs, the heart, and the vessels, and is a key factor for damage to these organs. Cardiovascular disease may be primarily caused by COVID-19 infection. However, it can be due to lung infection, which puts stress on the heart, which can be serious in patients with underlying heart disease. Cytokine release syndrome, which is caused by a surge in interleukin-6 and other cytokines, can lead to cardiovascular disease. Immune system activation can cause instability of the arteries of the heart, leading to heart attacks. COVID-19 infection in people with known heart and vascular disease can be quite serious. There is increased incidence of cardiovascular disease in patients infected with COVID-19. Data from the National Health Commission of China shows that 35% of people infected with COVID-19 had hypertension, meaning high blood pressure. Let's now talk about COVID-19 infection in people with known heart and vascular disease. There is increased incidence of cardiovascular disease in patients infected with COVID-19. Data from the National Health Commission of China showed that 35% of patients infected with COVID-19 had hypertension, meaning high blood pressure. Coronary artery disease was present in 17% of infected patients. Examination of data from a number of 8 independent studies from China, with a total number of 42,000 patients, showed that high blood pressure was prevalent in 14 to 21% of these patients. Diabetes was present in 6 to 11%, and cardiovascular disease was present in 4 to 7%. Explanation of high prevalence of cardiovascular disease in patients infected with COVID-19 is attributed to older age, increased level of ACE2 receptors, and reduced immune system in these patients. What are COVID-19 effects on the heart? COVID-19 can injure the heart in a number of ways. Number 1, injury to the muscle of the heart from inflammation. As the virus infects the muscle of the heart, the body mounts an inflammatory response in an effort to combat the infection. This leads to heart muscle damage. In a Chinese study, 20% of infected people had heart damage. Number 2, heart attacks. Infection of the coronary arteries can lead to heart attacks. In the same Chinese study mentioned, 10% of people who died of coronary artery disease had heart attacks. The measure of heart damage by measuring chemicals that are released from these injured heart muscles, namely a chemical known as troponin, would be elevated. Studies showed that the higher the level of troponin, the more extensive is the heart damage, and the more likely death is to occur from COVID-19. Number 3, irregularity of the heart beating. This can be secondary to abnormality originating from the upper part of the heart, for example, atrial fibrillation. This does not generally pose immediate danger to the patient. The second type of irregularity of beating originates from the lower part of the heart, and is quite significant and can lead to cardiac arrest and death if not treated immediately. Key points so far. COVID-19 damage to the heart can be due to direct muscle damage, heart attacks, and all leading to muscle damage as well, and irregularity of beating, including the serious form which can lead to cardiac arrest. This brings me to the conclusion of this presentation of COVID-19 and the heart. I hope you found it useful. If you like this presentation, then please like the video and subscribe to more videos from Dr. Bolad Cardiology, and you will be notified when new videos as I publish them. This will include heart complications secondary to COVID-19 videos and other heart disease videos. Thank you very much.